It's another Tuesday. Welcome to my Instagram live show called The Third Phase. Today's guest is a very inspiring guest. I know I say that every week, but this one is Dorothy Huntsman. She's the founder of biophilic based interior design consultancy, Dayhouse Studio in Salt Lake City, Utah. She's editor in chief of Dayhouse Living Magazine. And to everyone else joining me, I'm Lori Carpenter, interior designer and founder of The Third Phase. And I want to thank our sponsor, Life Ballet. Life Ballet is a manufacturer of these stunning grab bars for your home. They are inset ready, they're ADA compliant, and they're in modular configurations that you will love having that design in your home. Life is full of possibilities, and your home should too. Check out all the possibilities at lifeballet.com, and be sure and follow them over on Instagram at lifeballetnw. So let me bring Dorothy on. I'm very excited to have her with us today. I see that she has joined. See if we can get her on here. You have really got to check out her magazine. It's fabulous. Hello, Dorothy.
Hi.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. Thanks
Well,
for
we're
having me.
excited to have you. I'm loving your magazine.
Oh, thank you.
That
Appreciate
is
it.
very, very nice. Dorothy, as the founder of Dayhouse, can you share with our listeners a brief summary of your own personal story and what led you to found Dayhouse and its focus on creating sustainability and health focused interiors?
Absolutely. I came to this work in two ways. One was as a designer. I've been an interior designer for 3 decades. But the second, which kind of changed my life, was as a patient. So years ago, now I experienced a debilitating multi-system health crisis, basically that was happened over the course of 4 years or so, where I started
My,
to kind of develop one symptom after another. So I started, with chronic migraine and then fatigue, a couple different inflammatory issues cropped up, and then chronic pain, extreme brain fog, and I just felt like I was getting, like, you name it, and I was sort of getting this thing, and it was super puzzling. I had never had health issues before, so um,
wow.
yeah, it was a crazy time, and at some point, it became undeniable that my home environment wasn't just failing to support me and my health, but it was actively making me worse. So
Wow.
yeah, and this was I found out through that it was a toxic mold environment that I was living in and had been for 4 years. It
Oh
was
my goodness.
originated in a crawl space that wasn't ventilated and was coming through the floorboards. And then, over the decades had been, going through the HVAC system. And so I was just breathing in toxic air, basically. And
Oh,
it was severe, extreme, over 4 years.
wow. How
So
did you
yeah,
find that?
it was kind of crazy. I actually, um, like, it was like a moment where, like, in the middle of the night, I bolted out of bed. I was like, mold, like, this was 4 years. And again, like, after about the first year of living there, I started getting health symptoms. So this was 3 years of, like, more and more things building. And at this point, I was like it was debilitating. I wasn't able to, work or really, get out of bed, or it was extreme. So, but I bolted out of bed in
Wow.
the middle of the night, like, mold, could this be mold? And Utah is a dry climate kind of area. We don't really think of
Yeah.
mold here at all. So it wasn't something that even entered my realm of thinking. But at that point, I was like, I got online and I started, figuring out, I started to see how all of my symptoms were directly correlated with this mold. So that's, like, started this whole journey for myself and my partner, of, like, remediation. I had to move out. I had to, um, like kind of start all over again. So,
Oh my
and
word.
so that's like a whole other story. But basically, at the same time, my partner Greg, who is a biochemist and a professor at the College of the University of Utah's College of Pharmacy, he and I
Okay.
together decided that we would use our home, we would treat the home as a part of our strategy to heal. And we set off to create a home environment that actively supported this health journey that we were now kind of thrust upon. So we built a healing protocol that blended evidence-based design with self-care practices to support, my nervous system, circadian rhythms, my immune health. And, step by step, I started to heal, and it was amazing.
Fascinating.
Yeah. So that experience is now and what has become the heart of everything we do at Dayhouse, Dayhouse Studio, Dayhouse Living, and on. So it's what led us to biophilic design, and not just as an aesthetic choice, but as a scientific strategy for restoring balance to your body. So, and so yeah, we've been able to prove that this isn't just something that's valuable for hospital settings and office settings, but is profoundly beneficial right in that place where we spend the 90% of our time, in our homes.
Absolutely.
So
Especially sleeping. So,
yeah,
okay. And I know you're editor in chief of the Dayhouse Living Magazine.
yes,
And one of your recent issues was about home as medicine. And I was taken with that. That really caught my eye. And so I would like to talk a little bit more about that today so we can learn um, what can help us in our third phase to live more vibrantly.
absolutely. So, yeah, basically, there are literally hundreds of studies,
Hmm.
decades of research showing how biophilic environments affect health, right? So,
Right.
when we built the Stay House protocol for myself, we weren't guessing, right? We were leaning into all of this evidence. And since we've published peer-reviewed articles, papers that synthesize all of the findings that we found, that we have
Hmm.
come up upon. Again, and this is in partnering with my, Dayhouse is our science guy, Greg, who's
Uh-huh.
also my partner in life. So, yeah, so basically the science is pretty cool, and that all the data clusters around three mechanisms at work with biophilic design. One is psychological, one's physiological, and the other is neurological. So psychologically, biophilic environments have been shown to reduce perceived stress, which is critical for lowering that daily burden of stress on the body. So, and perceived stress just means that feeling of being stressed.
Hmm.
Physiologically, these environments regulate circadian rhythms and improve sleep quality through that
Hmm.
regulation. And then even, they can even lower inflammation and, increasing this immune system.
And
Um,
that's just from the circadian rhythm, correct?
Well, no, it's not just circadian rhythms,
Oh,
but those are two different aspects that this physiological mechanism is sort of helping to,
gotcha.
improve. So, and
Right.
then the third is the neurological. So that's basically biophilic design is shifting your nervous system out of fight or flight into
Hmm.
rest and digest, which is where the healing happens, right? Is in that rest and
Correct.
digest state. So when you combine those levers, we've got mind, body, and brain.
Hmm.
We and then in this intentional way, the home itself can become therapeutic. And for people in the third phase of life, that translates into very tangible benefits: better sleep, lower blood pressure, improved, memory and focus, reduced risks of falls, and even stronger immune resilience. So, that's why
Mm.
we titled the summer issue "Home as Medicine," because it's not just a metaphor, right? It's an evidence-backed framework, and the way that your home looks, the way that your home feels, and the way that it supports your daily rhythms can
Hmm.
literally add vitality to these later decades of life. So,
Very nice.
yeah.
Okay. Um, Okay, how does the home as medicine approach interact with chronic disease management in older people? For example, arthritis, cardiovascular disease, and dementia.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I mean, I've dealt a lot with of the same symptoms as older adults face, like you said, these
Mm-hmm.
arthritis, inflammation, migraine, brain fog. And what I've learned is that your home can actually, become a part of your care team. That's how we view it. It's
Oh,
for
thank you. Mm-hmm.
example, for arthritis, when the home environment is calmer, stress levels drop,
Right,
inflammation goes down, sleep improves, and those things all matter. And and they create this compounding effect when you put them all together. With cardiovascular disease, spaces that can help rebalance the nervous system, can support that healthier blood pressure, right? And then like
right.
someone with dementia is another example. Creating a multi-sensory design,
Mm-hmm.
using things like natural light, sound, textures, essential oils, and like adding plants. All of these things together as this multi-sensory experience can reduce
Right.
agitation, and they can even help with cognition. So, just kind of see it like, and using it in conjunction with this disease management plan. So like take like an antidepressant, for example, like if, taking an antidepressant in a dust, dark and dusty and cluttered environment with a lack of plants and,
Mm-hmm.
um,
Light. Mm-hmm.
just kind of imagining taking that pill in that space. It's like planting a seed in concrete, but that same pill, taking that same pill in a biophilic environment with light filled home, like, this uh, suddenly the environment itself becomes a part of that medicine, right? So the point is that design isn't replacing medical care, but when you combine healthy spaces with prescriptions and your doctor's orders, you
Mm-hmm.
get, better results than just with prescriptions alone. That's what we mean by like home is medicine. It's this adjunct therapy. It's about giving people in their 60s and beyond more days of comfort and more days of independence, more days of vitality and well-being. So it's this,
That's
partnering with, you know,
right.
medicine, right?
I see Tranquil Interiors have put on there designing for all five senses, and that's a good
Yes.
point.
That's correct. So
And
that's
it's
the
good for
essence of biophilic design is basically you're taking the experience of being in nature and imagine and think about when you're in nature, you are having a multi-sensory experience, with,
mm-hmm.
you're hearing the birds chirping and you're feeling the wind on your skin and you're seeing the dappled light and the light change throughout the day, you're smelling the smells of like the pine trees or the dirt or the
Right.
leaves. So it is a multisensory experience being outdoors, and that's what we're working to create indoors as well. So
Indoors. Oh, that's
yeah.
wonderful. What role does self care, sleep quality, nutrition, physical activity play in your therapeutic environment framework, particularly for people over 60? And how are these factors integrated into design?
Yeah, I mean, self care is, right there. We're partnering. Biophilic design is partnering with self care for us, so for disease management, in my opinion, as well as other things. So,
Mm-hmm.
for example, in my recovery, sleep quality was the foundation of my kind of health journey, and sleep hygiene is a self care practice. So, I was at the time living with migraine I'd had for 550 consecutive days. Like it was nonstop for a year and a half. And
I
we
cannot
know,
imagine.
I know it was, I mean,
Bless you.
it was, tough time. And it's given me a lot of compassion and empathy and, and a drive to want to help people as a result. Because I mean, it makes me want to like, it's emotional because it's changes your life entirely. Right. So,
Right. Well,
um,
it gave you a passion for this
yes,
design.
yes,
Wow.
exactly. So, but what we know about the research is that sleep hygiene alone for migraine, it reduces migraine days more than any like prescription drug available today does. So sleep hygiene, so
Sleep
alone.
hygiene.
Yes. So if you consider that, that's as powerful as medication, and you consider that, you utilizing your environment can help improve your sleep hygiene, right, through biophilic design interventions.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that there's like a real synergy that can happen there. And so, and that's kind of like the point. The biophilic design becomes, and that's like, again, like bringing nature, natural light in, creating this the positive air quality and air flow, bringing warm woods in, greenery, like sensory cues into your home. That's the
Mm-hmm.
biophilic design aspect. So combining, oh, sorry.
Oh, that's okay.
Combining these, like with your daily self-care practices,
Uh-huh.
that's where the real magic starts to happen with your health. So when sorry, I'm trying to get this so it doesn't fall again. So when you think about, the most underutilized therapy out there isn't a pill, it's the environment that we live in, right? And when we
Right.
combine that optimized environment with prescriptions and the other therapies that are recommended, the
Mm-hmm.
benefits, don't just add up, right, linearly. They multiply, like they compound. So this is why why recognizing the home as an adjunct therapy is so powerful, right?
Right.
And right now it's an underutilized piece of the healing puzzle. And for me, with the migraine, almost now has completely disappeared. So
That
this has
is
taught me,
amazing.
yeah, it's crazy. So it really has taught me firsthand how powerful this biophilic design combined with self-care practices, is. And yes, self-care, it can be designed in. I think it's part of, in my case, in what we do, it's, that intentional. Goodness, I'm so sorry why that's happening. Let's see. I didn't test for my surface, I guess.
Uh,
A piece of tape down or something. So sorry. So yeah, that the self-care gets kind of designed in to the biophilic design. And if you can
right.
imagine, for example, a lot of the, because they go hand in hand, you design biophilic intentional spaces such as like a refuge. We call it like a refuge space.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That it doesn't have to be a fancy thing, but this refuge space can become a place where you do your self-care practices, where sit and relax, where you meditate or do breathing exercise or you read a book. All these are self-care practices that are encouraging your body to get back into that rest and digest phase, right? To heal, for example. So you utilize the biophilic design um, to encourage and to enhance the self-care practices.
Yes. Very good. How do you overcome barriers that older adults might have implementing these environmental changes, like cost, physical limitations, cultural preferences, technology? For instance, are there grants available? Medicare cover any of these proposed possible changes?
Yes, there are some absolute barriers in that case, just mostly because it's a fairly new concept. It's a fairly new part of, we're still just really working to get this message out, that to see and to kind of start to view your home as this place that can help increase, and improve your health and well-being. So because of that, it takes time to get that the sort of the psyche of the medical system and but yeah, we are definitely hoping that it will be a part of the FSH a program, and and even part of like our insurance, kind of partnering with insurance in some ways. So that's what we hope will happen down the road. But yeah, in the meantime, and I get that. I get the barriers, are can be
Well, like for example, my mother, she's in a skilled nursing center, and she is not really physically able to really, like, let's say, water the plants, and things like that. And which I know you can get things like, those water bulbs, they call them, things like that. That way they can keep it watered, and things like. So there is a lot of things that can be done, in even situations like that.
That's right. There are a lot of interventions that you just basically customize for your client, right?
Mhm.
And and there are some low cost to no cost things that you can start doing today that like for example, you could start with your bedroom.
Mhm.
And because sleep is the foundation of health, all health.
As I say, it's the most important.
Right. So you can start with your own bedroom. First thing to do is to declutter, right? You take everything out
Mhm.
has been accumulating dust and sort of just get it out of the room for a second. And then, of course, you can do a deep cleaning and then you start bringing you bring the elements back into your room one at a time, and you make sure you only bring those things that spark positive emotion in you. So you're kind of reevaluating your space, right?
Right.
And
Interesting.
so that's the first step, and that's all no cost, right?
Yeah.
Um, and then the next thing I would do is to look at your lighting condition, look at your windows and your lights.
Mhm.
And, for example, like a lot of people have blinds on their windows, right?
Mhm.
And blinds, typically I find that you put the blinds down for privacy at night.
Mhm.
People don't oftentimes just raise them again, right? They don't bring in the
Right.
light during the day. They kind of get used to them being down
Down. Mhm.
in that dark. You sort of get used to the darkness. And but I was at a house the other day, and I was noticing this. There's like the blinds were down and in their living room, and it was dark, and there was a plant that was right next to the window, and this plant wasn't getting enough light, even though it was like right next to, and its little
Yeah.
like arms and tendrils were like reaching, going under the blinds to get.
Oh, try to get the light.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, this poor plant, it needs light. And it, really got me thinking, like, gosh, if this plant that's sitting this close to the light is struggling,
Right.
what is the humans who live here, how are they responding to this not having enough light?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I am a proponent of motorized
Yes.
window treatments, motorized shades. And now you can set them where they raise at 7 o'clock. They go down at 7 o'clock.
Yes.
Whatever time for you, to help wind down or to wake you up. And the clients that have them love it.
Yeah.
They absolutely love it.
That's,
So,
and I don't,
okay, share with us maybe some case studies or a pilot project involving older adults that where home modification or redesign spaces have led to measurable health improvements. Like
absolutely.
I know you're not really the older adult. Maybe you are, but uh, yours is definitely. But tell us maybe of your clientele.
Yeah, well, I don't actually like to speak about my clientele, when it comes to health issues. I like to really make sure that we have a safe and private,
Right,
relationship.
right. We wouldn't name names at all.
But I would love to bring in. In fact, I was going to say you ought to bring in Greg to this conversation at some point, because he's so interesting. He's got all the science and just pulls it all out, and he's
Well, we
it's
will definitely need to do that.
but this there are some really cool case studies that I find super compelling. There's like a pilot trial, for example, in a senior residence facility that he used one biophilic intervention only. It was dynamic lighting that mimicked natural sun cycles.
Hmm.
Um, and it showed just by that using that one intervention, this quality improved by 40%, total sleep
Wow.
by 3 hours, and sleep efficiency by 16%. So, remember, this is just one element that you've added in to your life.
Right.
I mean, that's a huge thing. And then there was another study that shows, there's lots of these studies, actually, multiple studies around this kind of theme, but that was able to show that viewing natural scenery, we're not talking about plants now, like
Hmm.
going back to your mother's space. This is just viewing natural scenery versus like an urban scene. So the two
Right.
compared. It was shown to boost executive functioning in older adults. So that's like tied to mental sharpness and independence. So that's like a big, you know, that's
Is that something that maybe you could even put on their TV screen?
absolutely.
Yeah.
So we're huge proponents of the Frame TV, the Samsung Frame,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
because it has that ability to have like art that looks just real and just like art. And instead of looking at a black screen, you're looking at something beautiful, and you can, you know, obviously fine tune that and customize it.
Yes.
Really cool. And
That's a
then
good idea. I may try that in my mother's room. She doesn't really watch it in the daytime as much as night, but something like that could be very calming.
yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then there was this other trial that was I thought was very intriguing. That they took 100 participants, and they were seniors,
Mm-hmm.
and they had a control group, this other group, and the other group, the control group watched or played a game on a computer, and the other
Uh-huh.
group spent 10 minutes watering plants, and they showed that compared to the control group, that group it had lower blood pressure, um, had what were the other things that had they showed on their brain scans this a more relaxed state via this slower brain waves, and
Mm-hmm.
then they reported less anxiety just by
Just watering their plants.
10 minutes.
I'm
Yeah,
going home and water my plants.
no, appreciate the watering, right?
That is great. Um, in your recent work, you described combining e-commerce and digital health um, platforms with home environment interventions. How could that look in practice for 60 plus clients? Are there resources you would recommend?
So, yeah, so we're basically building a product right now that, we've the healing protocol that Greg and I built for me saved, like it saved my life, or at least the quality of my life for sure, like
Mm-hmm.
tremendously, as I said, with those migraines alone, right?
That alone, yes.
But of course, building that out was time consuming. It's complex. It's not realistic for most people to manage on their own.
Mhm.
So we've developed and patented this therapeutic home environment sort of model as a way to make these therapies both accessible and personalized for the user. And so this is like we combine e-commerce
Mhm.
with curated evidence-based products delivered not as random shopping, but as like part of this therapeutic action plan that complements
Oh.
their prescriptions and other adjunct therapies. And because it's digital, they can track improvements over time and even share that data with their care team, so that could be beneficial outside of just using, this product. And it also delivers health education, which is the most important, I'd say, barrier, I would say, is
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
not what the environment is doing for your health. And then it also delivers design modules for both custom and digital. So for clients over 60, this could
Mm-hmm.
look like, simple home assessment that generates, tailored recommendations like circadian lighting or building a refuge corner, wellness corner, or
Mm-hmm.
kitchen setup that supports fresh eating, depending on what you're wanting to focus on,
Right.
first. Um, and then,
Interesting. How do
yeah,
they find that?
how do they find, sorry?
It's digital. How do we?
Oh, so we're creating that now. In fact, we're starting we're looking for, a pilot, people who want to be involved in the pilot program. We're starting with migraine,
Mhm.
um, and, um, and we'll be building that out. But yes, we are creating that product ourselves right now.
Oh, great. So it will, do you have a set date when this will be out?
Well, we hope that the pilot program will be out towards the end of this year, like somewhere in the fourth quarter of this year.
Fourth
So
quarter? Okay. Okay. Very good. That's exciting. So everyone needs to check out
anyone
your
who
magazine.
yes, absolutely. That's the other resource. It right now for is, our website has, our peer-reviewed papers on it. It's got the Dayhouse Living, which is right now we have 3 issues. And so that's another great resource. But yeah, and anyone who's interested in the pilot program, just reach out to us via our website has 1,000 ways to
Okay.
email us.
Well, what we'll do then, was there anything else you'd like to add that maybe I didn't cover that you feel would be beneficial to this third phase?
Yeah, I just this is the idea that I'm hoping that we kind of got across today that
Mm-hmm.
our home, our kind of grand vision is that every home functions like a daily health technology where it's like regulates circadian rhythms, lower stress, and supports that healing, around the clock, just automatically. That would be,
Right.
this ideal scenario. So, but the thing I want to really stress is that this is in practice, this isn't about like replacing medication or medicine. It's about amplifying that
Uh-huh.
medicine by bringing in the healing power of the home into your everyday life. So anyway, that's
Yeah.
kind of what I wanted to, and for people in their third phase of life, that means, this really does translate into, like I said, fewer migraines, better sleep, more independence, and ultimately that a higher quality of life, right? Which is what we
Yes. Yes, we want a better quality. We want to live vibrantly.
yeah.
Absolutely. Dorothy, this has been fabulous. Now tell everyone how they can get in touch with you. Maybe if they do want to be part of this pilot program, anything along that line. How do we get in touch with you?
So yeah, I mean, I'm active on all socials under dayhousestudio.com.
Dayhouse Studio. Uh-huh.
And then, of course, I have a website that is full of information and is the best way to, you can reach out on Instagram, of course, or, on my website. So,
Your website's beautiful. I went there to now the magazines are all digital, correct?
yes, they are right.
Okay. They
Yeah.
are digital. Okay, because I was going to say I didn't think about asking you if you do actually have copies or if it's all digital.
Yeah, right
But
now it's all digital. Someday maybe we'll have copies because I love the visuals. I love like bringing in.
they're really beautiful,
So,
beautiful.
yeah,
Yeah.
thanks. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you so much for being with us today, and I have thoroughly enjoyed this and have learned so much. And I know my audience in the third phase will have learned too. And so you have a wonderful day, and thank you so much again for being here.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. I enjoyed it.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.